What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream centered around the WNBA. I'm Jordan Robinson, and it's the best time of the year. It is the most wonderful time of the year because it is WNBA playoffs. I know this isn't my typical day, but I hope that you guys are here rocking with me because the playoffs are happening. They're happening tonight. Game ones are on Sunday, and they're happening tomorrow on Wednesday. We'll see if any can make it the distance and go 3 games, sprinkling out throughout the week. But today, we are going to talk about X factors and why these players are so important to their team's success. So, an X factor is maybe somebody who's on the scouting report, on the top of the scouting report, but could come in and just shake things up. Could really come in and say, well, we weren't really paying attention to this person. They're not a superstar. They're not the star. But if they dropped 15 points, 12 points, 18 points, that would be a game changer on whether their team loses or wins. So we're going to rank my top 6 X factors for the 2025 WNBA playoffs. So let's start with number 6. We'll talk about each player and what makes them important while also weaving in some things about the series as well. All right. Make sure to drop your X factors in the chat. Tell me if I'm missing somebody on this list, if I got it right, if I got it wrong. I'm sure you guys will tell me if I got it wrong, but would love to know what you guys think. All right. So let's start with number 6 and then we'll work our way back down. Okay. So number 6 is Lexi Hull. So Lexi Hull with the Indiana Fever is a player who struggled offensively in game 1. The Fever are going up against the Atlanta Dream. But what I think Lexi Hull can bring is scoring specifically at home. I think she is that type of player who the shots just fall a little better in Indianapolis. And with game 2 being at home, they need her to knock down those shots for them to have a chance in this game. The thing about Lexi is that she's not really known for her offensive scoring. She is a defensive player. She gets in there, she takes charges. She's kind of a menace on that side of the ball. But when you are missing, if you are the Atlanta or the Indiana Fever and you are missing a Caitlin Clark, a Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, a Damiris Dantas, who is also out for game 1. They're missing so many players, and Kelsey Mitchell can't do it alone. She cannot do it by herself. We know that Kelsey Mitchell can turn into a superhero, but she can't score all the points. Like, that's just a flat out fact. So she's going to need help. We know that we need Aaliyah Boston to be better, but I don't consider Aaliyah Boston being an X factor. Like, she is a starter. She is one of the top franchise players. Lexi Hull coming in, scoring 20 points, I don't even need her to do that. Get me in double figures. Honestly, there was only 2 players in double figures last game for the Indiana Fever, and that's why they came up short. So Lexi Hull having a great game at home in game 2 could keep the Fever alive in these playoffs. That's my pick. That's my pick. All right, let's go to number 5. Let's go to the Las Vegas Aces. Even though they are rolling right now on a 17-game winning streak, they could, excuse me, they could be even better if this player has a really great game. And to me, that is Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. The thing about Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, if you don't know who she is, she has not played all of this season because she's been out on maternity leave. But when I saw that she was going to be signed in free agency with the Las Vegas Aces, it was perfect. It was perfect She had a great season last year for Atlanta, and she has been able to have multiple seasons with Chicago and just doing a ton of the dirty work in the post. When Asia Wilson goes out, it can't be a drop off. And that's what we saw for so much of the first half of the season. Asia was doing so much work because she couldn't take a break. She couldn't be off the court for a hot second because it was going to be a huge dip on the defensive side and in scoring. So we got an Alyssa Smith for the Las Vegas Aces. That has been proven to be incredible. I almost had an Alyssa Smith and Cheyenne Parker on this fifth line because both of them need to really be working together and in tandem. But I think specifically at this 4-5 spot, having Cheyenne Parker come in for limited minutes and not have a drop off, be able to guard the paint, not have it, they can't avoid the paint at all costs with scoring. Like, this is no shade to Kia Stokes, but Kia has had her spot taken since Cheyenne Parker Tyus has been back because of the things that Cheyenne can do scoring wise and defensive wise. I love that she came in on her first game back, 8 points, 8 minutes. Like, it's effective and efficient. And that is what the Las Vegas Aces need from their second unit so that when their starters, their Olympians, take a break, they're not digging themselves a hole. I also want to say about Cheyenne Parker Tyus, she had a baby on July 1st, and now she is back playing professional WNBA basketball, and it's insane. Like, I actually can't fathom that. She is a superwoman, and I think that makes it even cooler that she could be an X factor, that she came back at the perfect time. She looks like she's in great shape. She's working her way back into shape. But it has been so cool to see her come in. Becky Hammon believe in her to immediately put her in. That has been really, really cool to see as well as we're going through these playoffs. And I think as we get in a deep run, who knows, Asia could get into foul trouble. Like, these things happen, and you need someone as a backup big to come in and be able to keep things going. So I love it. I love it. Okay. Going to the chat real quick. Going back to Indiana, Boston needs to step up. I agree. I believe she only had 8 points in game one. She had 5 fouls. That was not a great showing, especially because she has been a key anchor to the Fever all season long, along with Kelsey Mitchell. She has to, because if she doesn't, their season is over. She has to have a big game in game 2. I agree with you. This player from the chat is not on my list, so I do want to shout them out. X Factor for WNBA game 2 for the Valkyries, Salon, going 6 for 8 in the 3-point line. Salon is a bucket. Okay. Valkyries have a ton of buckets. Salon is one of those players. If you don't know her, now you know, because I was not familiar with her game before this season. But man, let me tell you, the Valkyries, yeah, I mean, it's tough. They have a really tough assignment going up against the number 1 team. But if Salon could get hot, it's going to be at home with their home crowd, but it's not their home arena for the Valkyries in game 2. But I think she could get hot, and that would be a huge, huge X factor for the Valkyries to maybe push it to 3 games. That would be really exciting. Okay, moving on to number 4 at my list, I have DeWanna Bonner here with the Phoenix Mercury. What a season it has been for DeWanna Bonner. Somehow, starting in Indiana, let's go back even further. Starting with this blockbuster free agency where she signs to go to Indiana. Then she gets traded, she gets waived, she gets picked up by the Phoenix Mercury. She goes back home. She's with her fiance, Alyssa Thomas. And then she's back to the DB that we know and love, how she can just be a threat all over the court. She can shoot from the outside. She can finish inside. Her length is crazy. And that's why she is one of the best players in WNBA history when you look at the all-time scoring list. Now she's playing more of a muted role because that's just where she is in her career, coming off of the bench. But I'll tell you what, all of her experience being in the playoffs, being in the finals, being a two-time WNBA champion with the Phoenix Mercury, that's when this comes into play. Because Phoenix, what we saw in game one, just going to weave in this analysis as we're talking about X factors, but the Phoenix Mercury let game one get away from them. They definitely could have won, not only in the sense that Alyssa Thomas missed a layup that would have won the game, but this was their game to win. Now you have to go to Brooklyn and try to bring it back to Phoenix. That is a really, really hard task. It was one of their lowest scoring games. They didn't even eclipse 70 points and the game went into overtime. So as an offense, they were struggling. On the defensive side, the Mercury were doing amazing. They turned over the Liberty 21 times, but they weren't able to capitalize on that. So I think the thing about DeWanna Bonner is that when the whole team was struggling, she still went 5 for 7. She was a constant. She's not scared of the spotlight. I think a couple of the rookies were shaking in their boots a little bit on Phoenix, and they are young. And I think they've been surprising up until this point what they were able to do with the youngins. But now in the postseason, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher. How are they going to get through it? And I think about how DeWanna Bonner is one of those players that needs more touches. Like, let her be an X factor for the X factor. You know, the fans in the Mercury are called the X factor. And she needs more touches to be able to show off what she can do and be that player for the Mercury. Satu had a really tough game, you guys. Really, really tough game. Like, historically rough shooting night. In the playoffs, going 2 for 17, 1 for 10 from three in 36 minutes. It was tough to watch. She just kept letting it fly, tried to shoot her way into the game, and it never worked out. Drive and kick to DeWanna Bonner. Please. I don't think she's going to have that bad of a game for game two, but allow DeWanna Bonner to be your X factor. She's going to go into Brooklyn in game two and not be faced. She's not going to be rattled by the crowd, by the stakes, by anything. So I can see her just having a moment where she's able to really show off her experience and what she can do. So I got DB at number 4. Let's go to number 3. This player has been so exciting to see develop throughout this season, and we have already witnessed them be a huge X factor in game 1, and that is Naz Hillman from the Atlanta Dream. Definitely a front runner for Sixth Player of the Year, because how she has been able to grow her game. She was not shooting three-pointers in college. She was not shooting three-pointers her first years in the league. She has expanded her game. She has brought the excitement, the energy off the bench. It has been so amazing to watch. And every single time, because that is a huge talking point for the broadcast team and the sideline reporter, and they always go up and ask her, you weren't a three-point shooter, now you are. What's the difference? And she always talks about the confidence that her teammates, that her coaches have within her to be able to do this. And it has been beautiful to watch. Her contribution in Game one, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks, having to go up against a Natasha Howard and a Leah Boston, um, guarding some Kelsey Mitchell on the switches. Like she's not afraid to guard anybody and also be able to knock down those open shots. Like Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray for the Atlanta Dream each had 20 points. Yes, they were going to show out. But we talked about some of the questions, and I know I talked about it on my podcast, The Women's Hoop Show. The question surrounding Atlanta is who else was going to step up just in case Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray can't get going. We've talked about it needing to be Brittany Griner, Bree Jones, but Naz Hillman is a glue piece for the success that Atlanta has had. And how, boy, have they had it. They've doubled their win totals from last season. They set a franchise record in wins. Their win in game one on Sunday was the first time they've won a playoff game since 2018. They've been to the playoffs, they just haven't won. They've been swept or a single elimination game. So this was huge. And Naz Hillman is a huge part of their success. And she needs to be a part of their success moving forward. So that's why I have Naz Hillman at 3. And I think she might win Sixth Player of the Year. She has started some games, but I think she could be Sixth Player of the Year. All right. I can already see people in the chat are agreeing with me. Yes, Sixth Woman of the Year, Sixth Player of the Year, Naz. I definitely agree with that. Also the chat, going back to the Valkyries. Valkyries did better than some other established teams. Hats off, for sure. For sure. They're still alive. I think I don't know if they could get Minnesota. Minnesota's just too good. I think if they played anybody else, honestly, it's just really tough for the Valkyries. The game changes. Michigan product. That's Naz Hillman. Great college career. Now coming into Atlanta. It's been wonderful. Wonderful to see her rise in ascension. Also, going back to the Valkyries real quick, we had some award news already that Veronica Burton won Most Improved Player of the Year. And then just announced this morning, Paige Beckers is the Rookie of the Year. So congratulations to both of those players. Both of them are, or they had to give Veronica Burton, they wanted to get to her in the first round. So that's super exciting. And then Paige is not in the playoffs. She was on the Jennifer Hudson show. So she's chilling and able to accept her award. But super exciting. Awards are going to be announced throughout these next few days, honestly, up until the weekend where we should get MVP on Sunday. Ooh, that's a whole nother stream. We'll talk about it. Okay, going into number 2. This is my number 2 X factor to shape the 2025 WNBA playoffs, and that is Emma Meesseman for the New York Liberty. The New York Liberty have 3 finals MVPs on their roster, and Emma Meesseman was the latest one to be added. And immediately when that news broke, we all said, oh my God, how the heck did New York get so greedy and so lucky at the same time to be able to get an Emma Meesseman? One of my favorite players because of her versatility, because of there's everything that she can do, and she's so skilled. Like, she's not going to be the fastest player on the court. She's not going to be the most athletic, but she is efficient and she knows how to get to her spots. Almost 13 and a half points, 5 rebounds, almost 60% from the field. That's what I mean. That's what she can do. Now, when we look at game 1, she did not do that. She was kind of floating around there during game 1 against Phoenix. Yes, New York was still able to pull out the win. Yes, it still went into overtime, but I need more. I need more from Emma Meesseman, and if she can turn up, the New York Liberty can not only make it past this first round, but really, because they would meet the Minnesota Lynx, if everything goes according to bracket, they would meet the Minnesota Lynx in the next round to get to the finals. And that is why you bring Emma Musamin in. You are trying to make it back to the finals. So, yes, New York has been decimated by injury. We still have a huge question mark on Stewie. What's up with her knee? Y'all, it did not look good. It did not look good by her reaction and by her wanting to cry. That is never a good sign. So we'll see. But that even more so, we'll need Emma Musamin to be able to step up. So I will be looking at her for this New York Liberty team to add more. She is a finals MVP. She's been here before. She's not, again, not afraid of the moment, like I talked about with Dewana Bonner. But how do we get her more involved? Another note about the New York Liberty is that Sandy Brondello played her starters heavy minutes in that game one, 39 minutes, 40 minutes, 42 minutes, because it went into overtime. Emma Musaman only got 13 minutes. So maybe we'll see her kind of get more into the rotation so she can be that X factor. But yeah, I need Emma. I need 2019 Finals MVP Emma for the New York Liberty to make a triumphant return back to the finals or even just to get past Phoenix. Go to the chat. All right. We are also agreeing here. When I made this list, I typed out Jonquel Jones' name and then erased it because I know that she will have a better game too. I feel like it. But Jonquel Jones is another X factor. Game changes. Facts. Jones has to be ready to dominate in the paint and not fall for the threes. Yes. Need to live in the paint like Patrick Ewing. Yeah, I agree. That is my biggest pet peeve with Jonquel Jones is she can start the game with 10 straight points. This has happened before, you guys. 10 straight points, feeding her on the block, turnaround, layup, hook shot. And then the next 5 times down the floor, she shoots a three. And it's like, wait, what? Just go to what has been working. Why are you going away from it? That is the tell of the tape with Jonquel Jones. So yes, she needs to be more efficient, do what's working, and she just flat out needs to score more. I think the Liberty can definitely get in lulls where they go through dry spells. And again, the Phoenix Mercury's defense was really good. Like they just couldn't score. That was a rough game. That was a close game. It was a battle, but it was kind of ugly in some moments, for sure. Kayla McBride might be an X factor for the Lynx. To me, that's one of those. She is a starter. She's one of the best shooters in the history of the league. We know what Kayla McBride is going to do. She can drop 25 on your head easy. That's not necessarily an X factor for me. You know what I mean? The X factor for the Minnesota Lynx, who I have at number one, is Natisha Heidemann. That is a player that if she gets going off the bench, who we have been able to see get hot with her hot pink hair, that is an X factor for me. So our number one X factor, Natisha Heidemann, Minnesota, also a player, excuse me, also a player who is in the front runner for Sixth Woman of the Year. She can go on scoring runs all by herself from the three-point line, from attacking the basket. Her and Courtney Williams feed off each other, what she can do in the pick and roll. She has been finishing at a much higher clip. She gets the crowd into it. Like T is everything. And yes, you look at those season stats and you're like, okay, Jordan, like this doesn't wow me. But it is timely buckets. Okay. That means that somebody that scores maybe doesn't score a lot, but it's when the team needs it. Or that's when when the other team's on a run. when it is a we need a bucket right now, Natisha Heidemann is one of those players coming in off the bench. 18 points in game one, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. She's everywhere. And the other thing about T that I think a lot of people miss, they mentioned it in the broadcast when in game one, but she has played out of everyone in the playoffs, one of the most postseason games. She has been to the finals 3 times. Her game on Wednesday against the Valkyries will be her 51st playoff game. She has the experience, even though she's only been in the league since 2019, but she has been on teams that have made deep runs in the playoffs, from Connecticut to Minnesota last year. Like, this is in her DNA. So I think that's what makes her even more of an X factor because, again, like I've said about a lot of people on this list, she's been there before. She knows what it takes. And it has been so amazing to see her and Courtney Williams, the stud buds. I know you guys have seen that viral video of her getting dressed up in Dejanay's clothes. It was hilarious. And yes, she's the X factor in social media, but also on the team. I love it. Natisha Heineman is my number one X factor. She has a good game. She scores over 15 points. They're winning. Easy. All right, you guys. Here's my list. Isn't she beautiful? Let's recap really quick for my X factors that are going to shape the 2025 WNBA playoffs. At number 6, we have Lexi Hall with the Indiana Fever. She can get hot at home, and game 2 is in Indianapolis. So she needs to step up. Kelsey Mitchell can't do everything by herself. She needs somebody else to play with her. Aaliyah Boston is beyond an X factor. She is the second star on this team with Caitlin Clark out. She needs to step up regardless. But Lexi Hall scoring will help them put them over the edge over Atlanta. Number 5, Cheyenne Parker Tyus, coming back from maternity leave, has only played in a handful of games, but what she has been able to do for a backup post when Asia Wilson needs a breather is super important, especially once they get deeper into the playoffs and they are going up against bigs, really big bigs. If they have to meet Atlanta next round going up against Bree Jones and BG, they're going to need that length, and that's what Cheyenne Parker Tyus can do. So she is an X factor. She has been efficient and has been capitalizing on the minutes that she has had. Number 4 is Dewana Bonner. My girl, I love DB, and through this rough season that she has had with a lot of drama, she knows playoffs, and she knows playoffs specifically with the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix Mercury struggled from the offensive end in game 1, and they need to get her more touches for them to have a chance. She is a 2-time WNBA champion. She knows what to do. Even though she's coming off the bench, she's not rattled by the brighter lights, and that is exactly what Phoenix needs with their young roster. They need that experience to lean on. Number 3 is Naz Hillman, the Michigan product. With the Atlanta Dream, she is a favorite for the 6th player of the year. And it has been a joy to watch Naz Hillman's game evolve into a 3-and-D type of player. And her 16 points, 18 points, I can't remember what she had in game 1, but it was massive to be able to move Atlanta to their first playoff win since 2018. I feel like this Atlanta Dream team is the real deal, especially when Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard are killing it on their end. They need one other person. Any game, it could be Jordan Canada one game, it could be Bree Jones, it could be BG. But when it's Naz Hillman, they win. And it's super exciting for her. So I have her at number 3 X Factor. My number 2 X Factor is Emma Meesseman on the New York Liberty. This could also be Jonquel Jones, but Emma Meesseman is another Finals MVP from 2019. She has been added to this roster to be an X factor. Like that is her role. She's like, yeah, you guys are going to scout for JJ. You're going to scout for Sabrina. You're going to scout for Stewie. I can come in here and shock things. Like I can shake some things up. You might leave me open. And that's when she needs to take advantage. She was a little bit, she was just floating in game one. She wasn't really a factor at all. And for game two at home in Brooklyn, she's going to need to step it up and just put more points on the board, especially if Stewie is going to be out for game two. My number one playoff X factor is one of the players with the most playoff experience in Natisha Heidemann. Wednesday will be her 51st playoff game. She's been to the finals 3 times. She knows what it takes to be here. She knows her role. Another front runner for sixth player of the year because she comes off the bench. She brings the energy, the excitement, the stud buds energy and laughter. She's just one of those players, and I think that she can really help Minnesota maybe get their first championship since 2017. All right, y'all. That's my list. Those are my X factors. Happy WNBA playoffs. And I hope you enjoy watching them because they have been so fun. It's been amazing and I can't wait to watch. I will see you guys soon. Again, I'm Jordan Robinson and happy playoffs. See you next time.